Welcome to the In My Opinion show with Ronald Barrington Robinson and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours a day. You can view our shows by simply typing in RBRIMO or type in the In My Opinion show. We are seen every Saturday at 6 p.m. on Flint, Michigan Comcast Channel 17 at 6 o'clock. We're also seen every Wednesday at 8:30. We're also seen in Detroit on Channel 68 every Sunday at 9 p.m. And we're also seen downriver on Channel 20 every Tuesdays and Saturdays at 1 and 9 p.m. I want to welcome our millions of viewers worldwide, but we have a special guest. We have Pastor Brian Willingham. Welcome to the In My Opinion show.
Hey, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Pleasure to have you.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure to have you. Mr. Willingham is also a police officer with the Flint Police Department. Pastor Willingham, please tell our audience about yourself.
I'm a native of Flint. Grew up on the north end, the old Linden Street, North Street, Jefferson School area. Eventually graduated from Flint Central High School. Served in the military for a little bit. Came back to Flint. I was a kid that, grew up playing sports in the neighborhood. Played a lot of ball in the military. Came back home. I got into coaching. Eventually the police force, the ministry, and so forth. And that's pretty much been.
Why did you decide to go into the police department?
Well, the military gave me a background right out of high school, having that experience of understanding how military works. And the police force was really, when you come out of the military, it was really, the police force was the closest thing that was really acclimated to what it was that I knew, because from the time of 18 to maybe 25, it was the only thing I had done, You didn't want to make a career out of the military? I thought I did when I went in, but after about 7 years of being in there, I met my wife. I came home to Flint. I was getting ready to go to Germany. Came home, met this girl that I knew from high school, and so that changed everything.
Okay.
Because I really did want to be a career soldier at one time, and I had gone up the ranks a little bit. But that just go to show you how falling in love can change your whole routine.
I know that's right.
It's changed my whole life since then, because
Okay.
we've been married 25 years, and now we have 3 grown children, and so that I had a plan, until I met her, and then everything changed after that.
usually does.
Yeah. So it's a good thing, but that's life,
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're a native Flintstone.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Born and raised. Found your
in Flint.
truly beloved, huh?
Yeah, found my wife, and Flintstone, by way of, like I said, my dad was from Arkansas, so Flint by way of Arkansas.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
What are your hobbies?
Well, my hobbies go way back to my growing up. One was, music. First thing I loved to learn to love, outside of my mother and my family, was music. And, my mother took me to see James Brown when I was 4 or 5 years old, down at the old IMA. And because I was a big music lover and a big fan of James Brown coming up, and from music to sports, I grew up in that Ali era, boxing, basketball, and those were my the two passions, that I learned to have at a young age, that kind of carried through my life.
Okay.
Now, but starting, way back, that was the first things that I learned to love and be passionate about.
It's a good thing.
Was the music and the creativity. The first things that I wanted to be, I think a lot of inner city kids do want to be entertainers. I wanted to be James Brown, and some part of me, hey, I wanted to be Ali. You know what I'm saying? Magic Johnson. Those were the first, real heroes, that I had, that I idolized.
Well, you get it. I think you get it honestly, because I've been in and around Flint, for a number of years, and this is a sports town, all right. So obviously, it seems like it's in the air,
right?
Okay,
it is, and if you don't have my dad wasn't around a lot, and so if you don't really have the guidance, so to speak, towards something educational or career-wise, that kind of thing. When I was growing up, I don't recall people really talking too much about careers and, be this and be that. And so, you took to whatever that thing that you saw, and that thing that I gravitated to was in my house was music. Mm-hmm. And then as I got a little older, it was sports.
Sure.
And so that's where I found the passion for life, and that carried me, I think, to this day. That's where I found passion and drive at, in the music and in the sports, the competitiveness, and that's I think it still is a driving force for me now.
Of any one person, who would you consider had the most influence on you?
In terms of what, a real person or a celebrity? Or
a real person.
A real person, I want to say probably my community school director is a man named Chaz McCall.
Okay.
He, the time that he spent working with kids, after school. I had a neighbor too, Miss McCain, that's passed on now, but Miss McCain used to do something really, I didn't never figured it out till I talked to her years later, but I could be outside playing, man, in the street. And Miss McCain was she was a big booster at Flint Northwestern.
Okay.
And at the time of when high school basketball was at its pinnacle, know, and Miss McCain would come outside and say, "Hey, go tell your mother we can really go to the game."
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it would be a bunch of kids outside playing, and I'll say, "Well, why would she pick me?" Over the years, as I become an adult, I would say, why would she pick me out of all those people, And then when I went back many years later and just really talked to her about that as an adult, because, I became an adult who picked up on her spirit, picked up on Chaz McCall's spirit, and it influenced the work that I did, And she said, well, she saw in me something that reflected her life, that she didn't have her father, and so I didn't know what was driving her, generosity or whatever towards me. But years later, I found out she grew up similar to how I grew up, and so she had a heart for my situation that I had no idea. As a grown up, you don't know the makeup of the adults, and so I found those were two people that really shaped my value system in terms of giving back outside of my own family. My mother was a big influence on me, but outside of my household, those were people that that showed a type of love that you didn't understand why. And like I said, it made me go back 30,
Sure.
later when I became an adult and asked and sat down with her and say, why did you do that?
Well, obviously, those two individuals had a tremendous influence on you.
Yeah.
In terms of the man that you are today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, your activism with the city and its young people. I know you're very active in PAL, and I'm sure that probably had an influence in terms of going in that direction too.
Mm-hmm.
Explain to our viewing audience, what is PAL?
PAL is the Police Activities League, and we stress the activities because it's not just sports. You're trying to create first a positive relationship between the police and the urban community, and you're trying to do intervention, trying to help lift young people in trouble out of trouble, trying to keep them out of a life of crime, and trying to give them a development that's beyond just playing ball, but character development, and introduce them to other activities that can shape their life.
How much does education play a part in PAL?
I think, formally probably not a whole lot, but I'm thinking going forward we're going to be doing more things educationally. Mm-hmm. Because again, what we're looking at out here is young people who, in order to be productive citizens, they're going to need some type of trade, or if if they don't get a degree. All our kids won't get degrees. I have 3 kids. 2 of them have degrees. One of them don't. They all making it and they all doing well.
Sure.
So everybody won't get a college degree, but I think one of my visions is to bring the trades at least into it, because these kids are going to need to make a living.
Exactly.
And be productive, citizens. And so they're going to need some tool, either an education tool or a trade tool, to be able to make it out here. And then be able to be in a position to give something back,
Exactly.
Because it's hard to give back if you are not productive in some way in the community. It's hard to be in a position to contribute,
I've been in and around Flint, Michigan since, actually probably for the last 25 years. I've seen multiple changes in those years. What do you envision for this city of less than 90,000 in the coming year?
I envision really, I think, a recreation of what it is we've done some things in the past. You're going to play a video at some point in this in this presentation, and there's 4 points that I like to stress, 4 C's, if you will, in that video, and one of them is common sense. In terms of working with people, we have to get back to a common sense approach. Absolutely. Of just doing just what makes sense. For the right people at the right place at the right time. Because that's something we used to do in the city. Working with human beings is not rocket science. It's really a lot of common sense stuff that, like, my neighbor would walk out the house and say, tell your mother I'm taking you to the basketball game, because her instinct said that I was the one that needed it.
Sure. And
she couldn't take everybody, you see. So it was common sense, and commitment. We have to be committed to reaching down and getting probably the most undesirable people in the community and lifting them up. And there was a time where there was a real commitment to that. And now, we're getting away from reaching down and getting in the dirty part of the undesirable population of people. There used to be people that used to like to do that, and now it's not popular anymore, to get down and get committed and get dirty. And so, then there's children, that and then the community. And so those are my 4 things. I feel like if we get back to a common sense approach, a commitment, to reaching down and getting the right people at the right place at the right time. We make a commitment to children and building a community. That's the things that I want to see.
Well, I applaud you.
Yeah, through PAL, that's something that I want to reestablish. I hope to reestablish in the city of Flint.
We have a clip of your recent trip, and I must say a winning trip to Florida with PAL. Let's show that clip that we have.
There's a common sense way to building community, to having a commitment, to building children, to building community, doing the right thing for the right reason, doing the right thing for the right people at the right time, at the right place. Common sense, commitment, children, community.
All right, Facebook, it's a new day. We lost the game yesterday, but I got some of the players here with you today. They're going to tell you who they are and what happened yesterday, how they felt about losing yesterday. But basically, overall, today is a new day, right, fellas?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's start over here. What's your name? Jacoby Holiday. How'd you feel about the game yesterday? You didn't all do your part? But today is a new day, right? So what you gonna do today?
Tell everybody do their part.
Tell everybody do their part, and then you're gonna go out there and get that win.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What about over here? Marquise Nelson. What happened yesterday?
We lost.
We lost. How did we lose? What you think happened? People gave up. They got a little intimidated yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, but what's gonna happen today?
We gonna win.
We're gonna win today.
Yep.
Because it's a new day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What about back there?
Right here.
Yes, sir.
Jalen Holiday.
Jalen, what happened yesterday?
People weren't doing their part.
People wasn't doing their part. But we ready today?
Yes.
What you gonna do different today?
Change the whole game.
You gonna change the whole game up? What about behind me right there?
My name is Ronald Nelson.
Ronald Nelson.
You gonna play defensive or offense.
All right. So let's say on three, we're gonna say it's a new day. 1, 2, 3.
It's a new day.
All right. Right. Now, how do you get the coaches and community people to work together? Because they say you got a team from the city, and see somebody want to say that's my kid, that's my player, that's my how do you overcome that in the community where
the thing
you put together one team and go out here and represent?
Right. Well, we got 3 teams here this year. We got 3 teams. We got an 8U, a 10U, and a 13U.
Mm-hmm.
But the way we do it, man, we show the kids love, we show the parents love, and we all try to. We always tell them it's a family thing. We always build family. We always tell our kids we are like brothers, you know what I'm saying? So once we get the kids involved, and then the parents will automatically fall in place because they know their kid is in a good environment, they learning the right things.
The kids might be from different neighborhoods.
They from different parts of the neighborhood,
schools,
different cultural backgrounds, all kind of different backgrounds. And what it is, we get the kids to jail, the kids get the parents to
But when you
jail.
get ready to go outside the city, they become one team.
Oh yeah, no matter what. And we don't let the parents get involved with our practices or our games because that is our time with their kids. But we do ask the parents to trust us with their kids, you know what I'm saying, and we're gonna treat them right, you know what I'm saying. So our parents give us all the utmost respect, and I'm telling you, when it's time to travel or time to go somewhere, they're gonna help us raise their money, they're gonna help us get everything done and get involved, because they want these kids to play as much as they can and learn as much as they can. So it's I promise you, it's a big family.
All right, okay.
It's a big family.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you, man. Just starting out. Good morning, Flint. I'm here with a coach from Jacksonville. I'm gonna let him introduce himself and then tell you his story, his coaching story.
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. My name is Aaron Williams. We won the national championship in Dallas last year, but it's not just about championships with me. It's about bringing kids up from the streets. A lot of kids that I got, they ain't got no daddy or no mama. I just go to the gutter. I go back where I came from and get these kids and mentor these kids and get them back into school and let them fall back in love with the game of football. We discipline on the field and off the field. So people say, how your team get so good, coach? And I took my own horn, but I tell people I got kids. They fall in love with the game because they ain't got no mother and father in their life. Like I was telling your man here today is, you got one kid, his mama said, you just take the N-word, and I got 7 kids of my own. I told him I take him in, but you know what? At the end of the day, she still give me a check. So it's not about the money with me. It's about the love with the kid for me. But God will give me my increase. But I just thank you for y'all. Hey, it's a blessing to be here. God bless y'all.
All right, God bless you, Flint. That's our story for the morning, man. That's a coach's story right there that I think everybody needs to hear, man. Back in Flint with everything that we're going through.
And we on the brink of a 2-time national championship.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When people say rubbish, I still see diamonds in them boys.
Oh, yes, sir. God bless you, Coach.
God bless you, man.
I'll see you around later this
Yes, sir.
afternoon. All right.
That was a very interesting video, Pastor Willingham, and hopefully that you will continue, that activism with the youth, and I can see the enthusiasm and accomplishments in those children's faces, and the proudness on your face of a job well done. Mm-hmm. When you folks won that championship. How did you feel?
Man, again, at being now past 50, I feel the same thing I felt as an 8 or 9 year old kid when you play ball and you want to win. Mm-hmm. And not win for the sake of winning, but when you do things a certain way, when you follow a process and you win, that's I like to win, and again, not just for the sake of winning, but our kids need to win. Number one, coming out of the situations that they come out of in Flint, we need more than anything to win, and so we kind of went there with that attitude that you can say it's not all about winning, but some people come from a background or a circumstance in which they need to win.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We need it. We need to win, and not just win for the sake of winning, but teach them a process that if they follow a certain process and do a thing a certain way, they can win. Mm-hmm. And not just win in sports, but win in life.
Exactly.
And so I love winning.
Give them the skills.
You know what I mean? I don't like cheating, you know what I mean? But I like winning. And I'll do anything, and I'll tell you, in the ministry, in a sports game, or if me and you go shoot a game of pool or play a game of checkers, I'm not going to cheat, but I'm going to do every doggone thing I can within the rules to win.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Because I just like winning. Mm-hmm. And I thank God most things I've been a part of, I have won. And I expect to win, and I'm upset when I don't win. I like winning. And it's a great feeling to teach kids again through a process of, and there's been some times obviously through my coaching career that I didn't win games.
Sure.
And there's been some times in coaching where you do everything you can and you have losing seasons and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But even in that, you teach them a winning through. Even when you don't win as much as you want to, you stay with the process anyway. Sure. And there's still a way you win even through that. Mm-hmm. But that's how I felt. Yep. And it fulfilled in me, again, this thing, as long as I'm living and I have this fire and passion, that there should be something that we should be trying to win at. And,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And not just existing in life and
absolutely.
And just going from day to day. in life, but trying to find something you can win at
Absolutely.
and do it in an honest way.
Absolutely.
You
That's
know
the
what
only
I'm
way.
saying?
That's the only way to
Yeah,
do it.
and I can't get enough of it, winning.
Right.
I want to win. I want to win 3 or 4 more times. That's
Well,
me.
well,
you know what I'm saying? I don't want to just win once. I want to take them, and they're 9 and 10 now. I hope in the next 2 or 3 years, if we do things the right way, that we win several more times.
Well, you have the passion.
Right, yeah.
You just have to
Yeah.
funnel that
Yeah.
passion into
Yeah.
into other into other human beings.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you for appearing on the In My Opinion show. Brian Willingham, pastor extraordinaire. One final question: how do you open the eyes of the people to realize Flint can live again and enjoy its once rich history?
Well,
In a minute do we have?
that passion. I mean, somebody had the passion. Frank Manley, the Manley family, I think back in the Depression era that first started this community education program and after school programs, because he saw that people didn't have a lot. They were not highly educated. They were not financially advantaged. And so, and it's going to take that type of social understanding and passion for the have-nots. And that's what it's going to take for us going back to that common sense approach to that, to realizing that there's just an underclass of people who, again, they don't have the greatest education, they don't have the greatest financial resources, but they need enrichment. You know, they need their life enriched. And that's what it's going to take.
And that confidence, you know.
That investment in people
And
who don't have it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel that you're a great role model. But with that, I want to thank you again,
All right.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Pastor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for
Reverend.
having me again.
And
And
stay focused.
And we got to start hanging out more often.
That'll work. That'll
Yeah,
work.
okay.
That'll work.
All right.
I want to thank our millions of viewers again worldwide. This is Ronald Berry Robinson and friends saying until next time, stay focused.